Worst break I ever had. They all owed me money.
Quiet, porcupine. And speaking of money, how about the $20 you owe me?
Oh, yeah? Well, I only got 10, so here's 10, I owe you 10.
Thanks.
Hey, Mo, you owe me 20.
Well, here's 10, and I'll owe you 10.
You owe me 20.
Here's 10, I owe you 10.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you. Good, now we're all even.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Man Cave. We are Ryan and Corey. You listen to the Much About Nothing podcast, the show where we give expert takes and good-hearted debates. We talk ball and anything and everything else. Today, we will be discussing the wage slave. If you got something to say, put it in the comments. If you're new to the pod, greetings. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, smash that bell. If you're already part of the fam, welcome back. Please like, share, and comment. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Corey, let's get into it.
Yes. I want to reiterate that right here. Take this time to please. It's somewhere down there. I don't know whether it's on the right or the left, but I'm pretty sure right there where your phone is right now, you can like, share, and subscribe. That is a major thing that y'all can do as listeners. Y'all can do and participate that way very, very easy. We thank y'all for y'all support, but please like, share, and subscribe. Well, let's get into this. Like my brother Hamp said, we are getting into wage slavery of wages. Yes. If you don't know, this is the definition. Well, what is wage slave? That's the first question. So it is a person wholly dependent on income from employment, typically employment of a arduous or menial nature. It's not that many times I found words I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google it, but I know what it means. So we want to run this video by y'all that's gonna start off this whole episode and give y'all a rundown of what we're gonna build this thing off of. So here it is.
Simon, you're an expert on financial statements and you run a $2.6 trillion bank. I know you're good at numbers, and so I'd like to ask for your help on a problem. I went to Monster.com and I found a job in my hometown of Irvine at JP Morgan Chase. It pays $16.50 an hour. When you do the math on this and you do the $16.50 out at 40 hours a week for 52 weeks a year, it comes out to an income of $35,070. Now this bank teller, her name is Patricia. She has one child who's 6 years old. She claims the one dependent after tax. She has $29,100. She had $2,425 a month. She rents a one-bedroom apartment. She and her daughter sleep together in the same room. In Irvine, California, that average one-bedroom apartment is going to be $1,600. She spends $100 on utilities. Take away the $1,700, and she has net $725. $400 for car, expenses, and gas, net $325. A low food budget is $400. That leaves her $77 in the red. She has a Cricket cell phone, the cheapest cell phone she can get for $40. She's in the red $117 a month. She has after-school childcare because the bank is open during normal business hours. That's $450 a month. That takes her down to negative $567 per month. My question for you, Mr. Diamond, is how should she manage this budget shortfall while she's working full-time at your bank?
I'd love to call her up and have a conversation about her financial affairs and see if we can be helpful.
See if you can find a way for her to live on less than the minimum that I've described.
Just be helpful.
Would you recommend that she take out a JP Morgan Chase credit card and run a deficit?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Would you recommend that she overdraft at your bank and be charged overdraft fees?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Mr. Diamond, you know how to spend $31 million a year in salary, and you can't figure out how to make up a $567 a month shortfall. This is a budget problem you cannot solve.
That number is generally a starter job?
She is a starting employee. She has a 6-year-old child. This is her first job.
And you can get those jobs out of high school, and she may have my job one day.
Monday.
Oh man.
Monday. All right, Corey. What you thinking, brother? What you thinking?
Man, I'm laughing at these comments. Where the baby daddy at? She needs child support. Oh man, oh man. Yes, like Tiff said, it is modern day slavery, but more so I we all know the problems. I always talk problems, but at the end of the day, the question is always for me, it's a solution. How do you fix these things? The problem is much time when you go deep into things and you pull up that rug, you find out it's more underneath that than you thought it was. It's like most things, man. When you get to digging in, you find out it goes a lot deeper than you expect it to. Yes. So it's not very, very simple. I applaud that man for dealing with Congress. Most of the time, when you go up there, you're getting hit with bombarded with a bunch of questions. But I don't like the fact that Natasha does what most politicians do. They point the finger at other people when they control most of these things that go on. They're the one that sets tax rates and they set these things that go involved. So most of the times that she is at fault. What she could do, she's standing there pointing the finger at this guy who's at the end of the day, he's gonna capitalize on his gains. But as much of the things they operate within reason. I think the best thing you can look at is when Dave Chappelle said, and he pointed out why people like Trump, because he told the truth. He looked at them and told the truth. He said, I know you're not going to do nothing because you enjoy the same tax breaks. The people that pay for you enjoy the same tax break that I do. So I know you ain't going to do anything about the taxes. At the end of the day, we're in a revolving system. So the question is, what do you think? How do you think we fix this? It's wage slave.
You don't want to get me started here.
Mm.
All right, so I'm reading Tawana's comment, and I don't think it could be further from the truth. It's not the employer's problem to pay everyone the money they need to live how they want to live. Man, you know who used to say that? Slave owners. I mean, like the thought of you don't have to care about the people that actually do the work. That's out of control.
I don't think that's equivalent. I think we just disagree fundamentally on that. And I think for me that it's very, very hard when we do that because I think at the end of the day we make light of what slavery really is. To say right now we live modern day slavery is really it's attacking our ancestors like what they went to is the same thing as what we went through. That is ridiculous to compare. To say that right now I'm living in a lifestyle that was when my ancestors were living to back in the 1600s, when they was getting hung by trees and murder, is equivalent to what I'm living now.
No,
That is
that's not what we're
ridiculous.
saying. That's not what we're
That
saying.
is ridiculous.
No, that's not what we're saying.
Okay.
We're saying this is the new version of that.
And I say that's making light of what we actually.
That's not. It's the new version of it.
No, man.
It's the replacement. It's the replacement of laborers. Because here goes the thing, right? Just stop and think about how the system is, right? 100 years from now, I want you to think about this. The same way now that we look back and we say, that don't make sense. 100 years from now, I do believe that people will look back at this era and say this was ridiculous. It's straight up ridiculous. Like, I mean, you sit here and you're talking about that banker, right? So what you're saying is he's so much more valuable as a human being that he needs to make 20 times what that new person, that employee makes. He's that much more valuable.
You want me to respond?
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think anything saying a person is more valuable, but what that person brings is more valuable. Because people have, let's say, a person that the dude that Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs as a person is about equal with everybody in the world. But his value is assessed that he has created something that everybody in the world wants. He created something of value. So at the end of the day, it's not who you are, it's what you do and what you bring to others and how much they're willing to go to attain what you have. So the biggest way I assess is always what I do. I am a pipe welder. I'm no better than a person that's sweeping, but it takes about 8 years for me to learn how to pipe. And it takes that person to sweep about 8 days. It's not even 8 days. It doesn't take him that long to learn how to pick up a broom and sweep. All right, if you take Newport News, they pay the people that pipe well the same thing as the people that sweep. When you do that, the people that pipe well saying, you know what? I don't want to pipe well. I would rather just sweep because it's an easier job than spend 8 years to make the same amount of money. So what you do is now you have nobody to fill the position pipe well. That is the problem all the time.
Okay. So let's read some of these comments, right?
All right.
So AD says a living wage is defined as the minimum income necessary for a worker to meet his basic needs. Okay. All right. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. Now what George said, it is jacked up all around. It will never be a good fix. You raise wages, the corporations pass on the increase to the consumer. Ultimately, low-wage workers will still end up at square one.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I agree with George.
I agree with George. I'm loving the comments, right? Because this goes to my point. I've said this all the time. This is not something that can be fixed without government intervening. The same way with the last version of slavery. At some point, the government has to intervene. They have to. Because this is getting out of control. It is getting out of control. And if you don't think that there's a reasonable solution, because you always bring up the shipyard, but let's just use somebody like, I don't know, AD. All right? AD is in the military, right? And if AD was in boot camp, and when he was in boot camp, to his left or to his right, there may have been a guy that was administration. There may be a guy that is an armorer. There may be a guy that is a police officer. There may be a guy that is a cook. Now, I want you to stop and think about this, right? Now, if all of those guys are going to make the same amount of money as an E1, right? And the system works. And if they work really hard, they'll get a step up and they'll become an E2. Doesn't matter what their job is. They have to work hard in their job and be proficient in their job, do the things necessary for promotion, and then they will be promoted. It is a fair and equal system. No guy says, you know what? It probably is easier to be a cook. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. They just do their job. They take pride in doing their job because they're incentivized to take pride in doing their job so that they can be promoted and elevated. That's the reason why it works.
The reason why that does not work, because number one, you're taking away the fact of force. When you enter the military, you have no choice but to do. You remove free will. So I would agree with you, but at the end of the day, you are removing people's free will. So if I don't want it, you saying, okay, if you stuff me in that joint and say, I'm going to make this amount of money if I sweep. What if I don't want to sweep? What if I want to do another job or another job? You're going to force me to do that job?
No, we're gonna force you to get the education and test well enough to get another job.
What if I don't test well? What if at the end of the day,
you're
going to tell me I'm going to be stuck in that job? I still have free choice in this world, regardless what I want to do. If I don't want to be a pipe welder and I want to be an astronaut, I might suck and never become an astronaut, but I have that choice to try. You can't tell me what I can do. You can't limit my capacities by what you think I can do. This is my free will. I can choose to do what I want to do. And I have to live with the results of making bad decisions like everybody else in the world.
Okay, all right. So how about this, right? Let's take the military off the table, right?
Yeah, bad.
Let's use the federal government.
Okay.
Let's use the federal government and how the federal government pays employees through the STEP system. Or you think that system is broken also?
I don't know what it is. You're going to have to inform me. I'm okay. I don't know what that is. You'll have to fill me in on the STEP system.
So if you are a GS-13, right, there's a salary range there. So whether you're a GS-13 doing this or a GS-13 doing that, same pay range. You disagree with that? That doesn't make sense.
I'm asking you, does the military bring in a lot of contractors to fill roles too? Same way? let's say I'm pretty sure the military brings in cap charges because my sister is a contractor for the military right now. She get brung in to pay because it's hard to feel. That's what I'm saying. That let's say even in medical system, the number one driving force for a person to be a job is pay. The more money you make is the most thing that's going to incentivize for a person to take that job. Like brain surgeons, most brain surgeons go into it. They ain't going into it to help people. They go into it because brain
Yeah.
surgeon pays a lot of money. That's
Yeah.
the biggest driving force. If you remove that driving force, you're gonna inevitably get less brain surgery. I mean, I don't see how we get away from that. Or if we acting like people just don't go to work or choose fields that don't pay, at the end of the day, I mean, that's not it. In that case, yeah, fields that help should get paid the most. But that's not the reason why people choose jobs. At the end of the day, the driving force for a person choosing a job is money. We can lie all we want, but everybody up here chose the job that they made because of pay. Paid more, and is what it was. I think everybody choose that. Why are you a real estate mark? Why you in real estate?
Hmm?
Why you in real estate?
You said, why am I in real estate?
Yeah, you can do a job that's more beneficial to others and more helpful to others. But why did you choose real estate?
I actually did have a job before that
Yeah.
that was more beneficial. More.
Why did you change it?
All right,
It wasn't because of financial means?
Okay. Well, no, not the first time.
Mhm.
The first time was thought I might die. Right. So so I chose a job that was a little more safe. Right. So the first one was I left the Marine Corps. I fulfilled my obligation, and I wanted something more safe. All right. So that had nothing to do with money. Right. The second time, I was working at a youth academy for at-risk youth. Right.
Mhm.
I left that job, and real estate just happened to be the field that I thought that I could be good at. I thought I could be good at it.
What if it didn't pay?
It had a low barrier to entry. That's what I would say. It had a
What if
low
it paid
barrier to
less?
entry. So
What if it paid less than what you were doing? What you would have did? What you would have did is solely for the means of you thought you would be good at it and you thought you would have fun doing it. What if it did not pay more than the job you had at the current time?
Yeah, I definitely understand. I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. The most driving force for any job is financial. If you remove that, then at the end of the day, a person is going to choose an easier job that makes it more fun. But it's not, jobs are built by the necessity and danger. Ice road truckers get paid a lot of money because nobody wants to drive on ice road trucks and die. At the end of the day, it's a dangerous job. At the end of the day, they feel that need by its dangerousness. So they pay people more money to do things that nobody else want to do. So that's the only way to get people to do it.
Okay.
It's the only driving force. If you remove that, how would you get people to drive on ice road trucks to deliver stuff to a life? How would you do that? If you remove, if I can make the same amount of money to stay at my house and live comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
you get what I'm saying? It
I get what you
doesn't get
but
filled.
you're missing the other angle to
Okay.
it. If you think that ice road trucker is making a lot of money, wait till you find out what that broker's getting.
Okay.
That's hiring that ice road trucker. Like because we like what you're saying is a very mute point. Like it's a very mute point. If you think that ice road trucker making some money, just think about how much money the broker that's paying that guy to do it. It's you get what I'm saying? Like back in these comments, like Tiff made a good. It's almost like I almost feel sometimes when this conversation is had, and it's not just you, it's with anybody that argues the other side. It's almost like I feel like what Harriet Tubman was saying when she was like, I could have freed more, but they did not understand. Like they did not understand that they were slaves. Like for what way did people realize or come to the conclusion that, you know what, the margins, this company should make so much more in margins, and I should get so little and be okay with it.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
It's out of
my
control
thing
to
is,
me.
it happens many times. At the end of the day, I can pull up histories of when you charge them more, corporations more. What do you think these corporations going to do? What do you think? You think you can force, like if you charge Tesla, okay, we're going to tax you. What he's going to do is go somewhere else and find somebody to do it cheaper, because you have no control over China, where they have no union laws or nothing. They can work a person like slaves, and then I could just ship it over and save money.
Don't threaten me with a good time. That's what I
All
say.
right, that's what I'm saying. When you get enough corporations to lose, then you have people losing jobs. If you lose these corporations, then
That's
jobs
a
are
threat.
lost.
I don't think that's a real threat. I don't think that's a real
So then
danger.
people out of work. If
I don't
you
think it's a,
shut down right
I know
now,
it's a real threat. It's not a real danger.
oh, if you shut down the shipyard right now, what do you do?
Okay. You know what ends up happening?
Yeah, you
If this is what happens,
thousands of people out of work.
that's not true. That's not what happens.
What?
You're from Franklin, right? So you
Mhm.
understand when International Paper left, people said, "Oh no, the plant." What ends up, somebody will fill that void.
Mhm.
You can't. You just to think that a company says, "I'm gonna take my ball and go home," and then what you're saying is there gonna be no more basketball? No, somebody else is coming with a ball.
Hold on, what you saying? Like they sold the company.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
I'm
to
not
you is,
talking about selling the company. I'm talking about moving the company. Moving the
listen,
company.
if they move the company, and they're two different companies. Well, however you want to put it. If you
Oh.
move the company, right?
All right.
Or if you say, you know what, I'm gonna take this over there, someone will replace you in America. Like someone will replace you. No man is that great. And the fact of the matter is, again, this is why I started off the conversation and said this is something, and this is the reason why government has to get involved in it. Because at some point, I'm gonna tell you where the world is headed.
Mhm.
All right, I want you to stop and think about this. If you look at what I have a person I'm dealing with on a transaction right now.
Mhm.
I first met them 2 years ago, and they were looking for houses. And the price point from where they started looking at houses, originally, they told me that my houses were too expensive. This maybe it'll be almost 3 years now, and now they're back and they're trying to buy the same house, same floor plan, and that house is almost $200,000 more. At some point, if we do not get a hold of this, the same system that you're defending will be the same system that will prevent your children from home ownership. It'll be the same system
I'm
that
not defending the system. I'm just saying what you are proposing for a fix does not work. I'm saying the problems, I see the problems just like you do. But what you think is a fix, you have not thought all the way out through. I'm sorry. Like even companies move. You could talk about Money Mellers. Like Money Mellers is in Franklin too. What that building doing right now? They left. What is that building doing right now in Franklin, Virginia? All those people are out of work. That building is doing. Who took over that building? What is it doing back there? Collecting dust. You can make this argument, but at the end of the day, it's not understanding the position of power. They can move and make money. They can always find people to work their job. What's more valuable? The people that put graphite in a pencil, or the person that got the machine to put the pencil together? What is more important?
it's not about what's more important. That guy who made the machine probably should make more money, but at some point,
All right.
what is enough? What is
Oh,
enough?
I would agree with that. I would agree.
Like what is
All right.
enough?
If that's
You know,
what you're saying.
Because if you
Yeah.
if you think about this, right, there was an argument at one point during slavery that if you free all these slaves, what are they going to do? They'll starve to death. Like, we feed them, we shelter them, we house them. They will just die if we don't keep these plantations going. It's a foolish way of looking at things.
Nah, I just look at it like this. We should just say we don't have a plan and just tear down the structure with no plan to put in place stuff. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I see the same problems. I'm saying you're saying we fix it this way. I'm saying you're going to run into this problem, and you're saying, okay, you shouldn't say anything. Why are you trying to look at the problem? I'm saying it's inevitable. I see this problem coming up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just not as easy as saying, okay, I should just look past this problem. I'm saying if you do this, how do you correct for this problem? If you come up with a solution, I would say, okay, I agree with that solution. I'm seeing the problem just as you, but you're saying I shouldn't see the problem that comes after that. It's a 1-2 step process. If I see a problem with the two, what I'm supposed to ignore it being a problem? I should just say it's not a problem.
Mm-mm. Nah, man, I know, and here goes a prime example, right? You asked me about my career change.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I really, really, truly think about, like, what it was like, I remember, again, let's just say when I was making, because at this job I started off making like $27,000. And I remember how low that was. Like, I remember, like, hoping there was enough money at the end of the paycheck. I was hoping there was enough money at the end of the month that I didn't have to swipe my card and hope they only take $1 for gas. And like, I remember that. But here goes the problem when you get low wages like that. Even when you switch jobs with low wages like that, you're almost teetering, starving to death to switch jobs. Because they keep you so poor that if you do switch and that job has to make you work a week in a hole, you may starve to death. Like it is a perpetual system. And Tiff made a good point that I was just reading over here.
Solution. That's the solution I would agree with. Own a business and get a trade. That's what I would agree with.
Okay. All right. So let me tell you this. Like, I want you to stop and think about this.
Yeah.
I want you to stop and think about this. What in your elementary, middle school, or high school time frame prepared you to do that? Because I would argue most of the things that I learned in school prepared me to be a tax-paying employee. I was taught to follow instructions. I was taught to stay on task. I was taught to do whatever they say to do within these 8 hours. Like, it wasn't teaching me entrepreneurship. It was teaching me how to be an employee. And then when I left there, they encourage you to go to college. Now, for the majority of people that go to college, right, and then they accumulate a debt. And I'm going to tell you how I feel like it's by design, because I want you to stop and think about this. If I go to the bank at 18 years old and I say, I want you to give me $100,000 to start my business, they will laugh at me if I'm 18 years old and I go to a bank. But if I go there and say, you know what, I want you to give me $100,000 so I can go to college, they'd be like, all right, take the money. Like, because they know that you are indebted to the system at that point.
I know most companies that get started up took a loan out from the bank. Most stores that got bought.
We're talking about 18 years old. At 18, when you get out of high school,
you have to build a line of credit.
Okay, but do you need a line of credit to go get a student loan?
No.
That tells you right then and there, that's not what the system is about. If you can get this amount of money to go get a student loan, but you can't take that same amount of money and get a business loan, then that is telling you something right there. Because I would say this, if I'm a bank, I think it is a poor investment. I think it's a foolish investment to give a kid a loan at 18 years old for him to go to college. That's one of the worst investments I think I could give someone. That's a terrible investment. What incentive do they have to do that other than the fact that they know they will never pay this loan?
I don't know. I agree that college is a crappy system. I think it works out for some, it doesn't for others. I mean, some people it does work out for, depending on what you go to college for. I think some things are good to go to college for. I think like physical education and situations like that. I mean, anybody that go there for certain kind of degrees, I think is. But some people want to go for arts. Some people want to go for other things. At the end of the day, you have to keep choice. Because people have to be able to freely choose. And long as people have the ability to freely choose, you have to give them the ability to choose, make bad choices. Do you remove bad choices from people? If I want to go to college to study liberal arts, that's probably a bad thing to go to college for. But if it's my choice, this is what I want to do. Do you remove that choice from me?
Nah.
You let me go in and take that loan out and find out in the end I can't find a job that pays for.
Man,
that's a bad choice.
I don't think it takes 4 years. I don't think it takes 4 years of education to even make it work. I really don't. I like really does it take 4 years to learn marketing?
No. I don't think I wouldn't go to school for marketing. I think you can that could be self-taught. You're reading books. I don't think you need to go to school for that. Like I don't marketing, I think you could just very well buy the books and read them yourself and you can get just as much experience.
Mm.
You don't think so? I think instead of wasting the money on a loan to go pay for the degree, I think you can pay for the book and read the book. Most of the things you said you got into real estate doing what? You read a book, right? And you started reading books and self-taught. Most of this stuff you are taught yourself to say. It's certain things that can be self-taught. Now I would agree, like law degrees and medical degrees, you have to go because you need somebody else to validate that you have done this. But
Yeah.
far as that the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, I agree with on the thing of law degrees. I almost feel like if law is so complicated that you have to go 7 years, you probably should reevaluate why is it so complicated.
You
Like
said law is not complicated.
I
You
said,
think law
we
degrees?
should ask ourselves why is it so complicated. We really should ask ourselves why is law so complicated that a human
Because
being
people
has
don't
to.
agree. At the end of the day, me and you, we talk a lot, right?
Yeah,
How much morally we disagree? You're talking about a nation
hmm
trying to decide of what's right and what's wrong in every single instant. You know how many laws that would take? How many laws? And then you have to learn the cases. Because at the end of the day, you got to stay consistent. If you pull up a case law, you have to change that because somebody made a ruling.
mm,
That's like Roe versus Wade. That Roe versus Wade is a ruling, one ruling. So
mm.
whenever somebody else bring up another ruling that has a problem or goes against that ruling, you have to go back and look at that ruling
I
because
know
you
it, man.
cannot keep it the same.
Man, let's just
Law
be.
is difficult.
I
Law is very,
understand.
very difficult.
Let's be thankful that in our households we don't have to study the laws that we make in our households for 8 years because nothing would ever get done. But before we go into the comments, I'm gonna go ahead and say this, Corey. I learned this. Believe it or not, I may be the only human being on earth that has never really. I don't think I played Monopoly as an adult. I don't know how to
Mm.
play it. I really don't know.
I love Monopoly. One of my
But
favorite games.
but I want to ask the question of this because somebody told me this. They said, "Do you know what happens if nobody buys property in Monopoly?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't play." But I'm gonna ask you, Corey. You play all the time. What happens if
Mm.
nobody buys property in Monopoly?
Ooh. I don't know. There's no need to play if you don't buy property. We just go around the board.
No, everybody makes money.
How?
I mean, I don't know. But nobody loses. That's the understanding that I'm
Nobody
saying.
loses money, but nobody makes money. Eventually, it's like, okay, the same argument can
Oh,
be said.
LG said everyone wins.
Everybody wins.
Everyone wins.
Depends on how you look at it. Natural people are consumers. At the end of the day, we consume. Because if we stayed in this room and did nothing, what's going to happen? We're going to die.
Oh, you pass, go, and collect. That's what.
Let's go and collect.
So everybody wins. I don't know. I'm gonna learn how to play,
That's
man.
how
I'm gonna
simple
learn
it is.
how to play, and
You
I'm
know
not
what?
gonna. Yeah.
Let's just go around the board and everybody collect $200. That works. Um, yeah, that's the solution.
I mean, like if you, because and so the
I have been
story.
thinking honestly thinking on a solution for this that actually might be beneficial. I do think socialism it's a way to bridge it. But I think it's a problem with capitalism too. I agree capitalism has greed. I'm against monopolies. Capitalism and monopolies go hand in hand, but I'm against monopolies. I don't think one thing should own everything. So I agree with that, but I just don't agree with socialism. I'm sorry. I don't. I can look at the history on it and see it failed every place it's been.
We gotta hit these comments up, man. This
Hit
thing
them
is.
up.
Well, phew, sheesh. All right, so when no one is dying, no one is dying when you do that. All right, consumers, if I earn more, should I be allowed to consume more? Yeah, that's matter of fact, real quick before I go to the rest of these comments, man, I'm gonna tell you, I watched a really good movie. I don't want to mess the name of this movie. Oh, it's Platform. I think Platform is a really cerebral movie that if you really stop and think about it, you'll understand what we're going to. The same way you've tasked me with watching movies, I'm tasking you with watching that
No,
movie.
I'm gonna watch Platform, but I know you have yet to watch any movie I told you about or
If it-
read in a book I ain't told you about. But I'm gonna watch Platform
but you
because
know
I'm
what?
gonna do the right thing. Tiff, have y'all seen Next 3 Days yet? Put it in the comments.
Oh. hey, Tim, we're gonna watch next 3 days. We about to watch next 3 days. We about to watch next 3 days. Listen. Everybody who knows me, I'm in this weird spot at my job where I am working like all day, every day. But it's about to end, and I am going to watch those movies. All right, back to it.
Start at the top.
Start at the top.
Start at the top. Yeah, he just made when y'all read the comments. Start at the top. That way you can go down.
All right. Ask a Venezuelan about socialism.
They don't want to bring that up.
This
Y'all
all
hear
you
that?
want.
Is socialism took place? And you ask anybody that comes from this country, they hate socialism. Everybody that came from any country that tried to apply socialism,
Because it was
bring
corrupt.
up the fact.
Because it was.
Yeah,
corrupt.
it's. How would you not have corruption?
I don't know.
Because you ask them people to go against their nature. At the end of the day, if we give all the power to the government, we're asking the government and trusting them to do what's right. Do I trust the government? Do you
Yeah,
trust the government?
You do. You trust them with everything else.
No.
You trust them with the police. You
No.
trust them with the roads. You trust them with the military. You trust them with everything else.
No.
Why do we pick and choose when we're going to trust them?
Let's read the comments. I'm gonna close the door. You hear that crying?
I don't hear it. Well,
You
all
don't
right.
hear it. I'm gonna close the
All right, here you go. Capitalism is corrupt also. Not true. Some things should fall under socialism. Watch the Boondocks. Home insurance is socialism. Ain't it? Ain't it though? All right, here you go. Consumers, if I earn more, here you go. Consumers, if I earn more, should I be allowed to consume more? Well, man, so many comments coming I can't keep up with it. Well, no one is dying when you do that. We all eat. Hamp, you would be good at Monopoly. Naturally, we are all greedy. Yaku dude said, "What a boring way to play Monopoly." AD says you make money by you make money by pass and go, which is the truth. Pass, go, and collect. LT says that everyone wins. Restream says we received 100 messages today.
Woo! 37 minutes in, baby. Yeah, I gotta hear that, Joe. Right.
All right.
I know
All
how to
right.
do that now too.
All right, here you go.
Mhm.
Mentors and mentorship will get you further than any school. That is true. The Bible makes the law simple. Okay, the Bible makes the law simple. What is that? What's the law?
Well, they say the law in the Bible, right? So, right, the Bible does tell us what right and wrong is. But my thing is this: it's still not as complex as that. Like most of the time, you see me cite. I don't cite the Bible, right? I never cite the Bible when I make arguments. I try to make rational arguments without citing the Bible because at the end of the day, let's say if I believed in Dr. Seuss and I try to argue points of Dr. Seuss to somebody, if they don't believe the Dr. Seuss, they ain't gonna validate my argument. And I don't think I can win rational arguments with citing the Bible, even though I do believe the Bible, but I try to rationalize my points in other ways that they will accept. So, like abortion, it's probably about the biggest thing I argue, but I never cite Jeremiah 29:11. You know what I'm saying? That is one of the reasons why I think life has value from the womb, but I would never cite that. I would just make other arguments. So when you come to laws, I think the way that laws should operate is what people think is right and wrong. Me, I operate by the Bible. But if somebody else believes it's morally right, if a group of people that come to a clear distinction of what they think is morally right, then carry on with that. Because I don't think the Bible tells what the speed limits is. It don't go like speed limit 45. It's law is big, man. Law is massive. Right and wrong is not as simple. Because it's not. It's kind of subjective.
Okay. Oh man. All right,
Oh,
so
eye for eye. People. I want to hear in the comments. I'm sorry for cut y'all. Do
no, you
people
good.
really believe an eye for eye? Because an eye for eye, I think people really do not want an eye for eye. Because that would be like if somebody killed my mother. Eye for eye is not that I killed them; it's that I killed their mother. So that's an eye for eye. That's an even trade, and I don't think anybody wants eye for
Sounds like an alpha eye lead the whole world blind.
eye. Mhm.
Be a whole blind world full of blind folks. Okay. All right. So let's here goes something here,
Mhm.
right?
I
All
agree,
right.
Mr.
So
Warner.
all right. So yeah, we enjoy the benefits of them: roads, infrastructure, public services. Uh, Heck yeah, that is human nature. Tawana want to get her lick back. She want to get her lick back.
See, telling I agree with that. When I talk with Christians, I cite the Bible because they do believe the same thing I do, and that's what we cite. When I talk with a Christian, the only thing we're gonna talk about is about we know how we're gonna discuss. But when other people, I mean, it's like bringing up something that they don't believe anyway.
Yeah, George said do it. I think that George does believe in the alpha. I believe if somebody wants to do something to one of his family members, he wants to do the exact equal and opposite to their family member. I do believe that he really believes that.
People do horrible things, man. I don't think I have the same moral value as other people. When they stoop to a certain level, I don't think I can do that. If somebody shot my child, I'm not going to go there and shoot their child. It's not. That's eye for eye. Same thing. But that's just I can't do that.
Oh man, like I said, man, I really I do believe this. So okay, let's just say again, I've said this before. You don't believe it. I'm gonna bring it up. I believe at some point the government is going to come out with a universal basic income.
Oh,
I
I
think it's some.
agree.
I
Yeah.
think it's. I think is that is the because
All Christians should believe that. It's just
he said,
revelation, man.
oh, that's the one world system, right? Universal basic income. That's the beginning to the end.
Yeah,
When we
we're
start
gonna
making sure
get there
people,
eventually.
when you say we get to the point where we making sure people ain't starving to death or living on the streets, that's when the world's gonna come to an end.
No, I think eventually we're gonna get to a point where people either have to be for something to purchase items, and we'll start moving away from free world trade and start getting into you have to have a certain item to a certain mark. I don't want to get too deep, man, because y'all know
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
getting to it. You gotta have
I,
a mark
for
to
the
purchase
beast.
certain thing. Yeah, you gotta
My,
purchase it. But the mark of the beast don't have to be exactly well, it does have to be on your hand or your forehead, but it does not have to be. I don't want to get all the way into that, man. I don't like talking revelations, man. And
so you
hey,
think that's what
we get
universal basic income is?
um I
That
think
that
eventually hey, the devil moves in mysterious ways and he would try to attack you in ways that you probably don't see.
man,
I
that's
think if I gotta see the devil's horn to understand it's a devil, then I already lost.
no. I ain't saying that. I ain't saying that. I'm saying that when it gets to the point where, all right,
Mhm.
do you agree that we all should have universal basic insurance? You don't think that human beings should have life insurance or health insurance? You don't think that human beings should have health insurance?
I think human beings should have health insurance.
Like so you do believe that a family should not have to lose everything because they have a sick child. Like to me, I
Come on.
cannot fathom
We
like
the easiest way to understand me, I think the way things should be that way, but I don't think people it will ever you're looking at the best of this world, and me, I think this world is destined to end. I don't think you can take the nature out of people. This world will end one day. At the end of the day, people in their nature, you cannot change human nature. And human nature is a terrible thing. I think I see the best in certain individuals, but I see the worst in what people truly are.
mm, well, I don't care whether a person is a good person, a bad person, whatever.
Mhm. How do you
I
know?
I don't care. I don't care, and because I don't know what they're doing. I don't care. I don't care who they sleep with. I don't care. I don't care any of that type of stuff. I really
Mhm.
don't. I really do not care. At the end of the day, they have to deal with that with their creator. Like they have, It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But what I will say is, their children deserve to have health care.
Mhm.
I will say their children deserve to have at least breakfast and lunch when they go to school. I think there's basic. I think a society is only as valuable as how they treat children and old people. And I think that when it comes down to it, like there should be health. I believe there should be health care. I believe that no one should be hungry. I believe that. I truly believe that. I believe that shelter and the ability to get shelter is a basic need.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. I'm saying there's not enough people in the world that agree with that. Most people in the world are selfish. They don't care about children. They will watch a child starve before they lose food. I would rather die than watch a child starve. And I'm pretty sure you agree too. But I think majority of people in the world are selfish. They only care about themselves. They don't care about somebody else's child. They might think they do, but if the opportunity comes for a child to live and they die, that child be dead and they'll live.
And they eat the child.
And probably would. Probably would. I'm dead sure. I think human beings left to their own device. If you put 10 people in a room with no food or water, they'll eat each other. That's just it.
I don't know, man. I just want to believe in humanity, and I want to believe in the humanity that's inside of me, and
Yeah.
say that, and the humanity that's inside of me says that I know that there's no man that should have multiple billions of dollars on earth. I know that to be true. I know it to be true. There is no reason whatsoever for a man to have that many resources. Because one thing, when you get to the point where you realize that resources are not infinite, they are finite. And when human beings get to the point where they're collecting resources and not sharing them with the masses, that is a problem. Like, that is a problem. I mean, when you got so many resources, you can, an individual, like a civilian, is sending rockets into space. Like we doing way too much here. Like, we're doing way too much. Like, and so the question is, how much margins did he have to make to get? How much margins do you have to make to get to 70 billion, Corey? Because here goes the thing. One thing you got to remember: every dollar, and I respect this, and I said this to a client last week. I take my time with people, and I do the right thing because I know that any dollar I make has to be extracted from somewhere. Anytime you make a dollar, you are taking it away from somewhere. I don't have a money tree. There is not a money tree. Every dollar I make has to come from somewhere. So when you ask yourself, how many people did he take from to get $70 billion? And if you don't have a problem with that, and you're in capitalist mentalities that don't have a problem with that, there's an ethical issue there. Because you have to realize that this man has extracted $70 billion worth of resources. And we have people who are sitting here trying to figure out how to fill out that resume for that $35,000 a year job, in which we're saying, where's your baby daddy? It's crazy. We sit here talking about where's your baby daddy, but we don't have a problem with a guy that has extracted $70 billion.
It depends on the means that he extracted that money, and it depends on how you're going to get it from. Do you believe in just taking it from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
think-
All right. So then I don't
Yeah.
agree with that.
'Cause
To
I-
me, that's stealing. I don't move that. I don't think stealing is right. So
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah,
I don't
think-
believe it. I just
and-
disagree
and-
with you.
And I do believe this. I believe there's a big difference.
I would like him to
between-
give his money up, but I wouldn't take it.
I believe there's a big difference between 2,023 years ago and now, and what we have right now. I believe Jesus would flip a table over if he knew this guy had $70 billion. I'm pretty sure he would flip a table
on.
over.
Number one, and when people say this, what scripture do you have to back that up? Why do you believe that?
That's just my belief. That's my
So
belief.
why do you believe that? What
It's
tells you to
intrinsic.
believe that?
It's intrinsic. I feel
Why
that
would you believe that about Jesus? What tells you that that's what he would have did?
I believe
That's
he
what
would
I'm
have a
saying.
problem with
Like
that. That's my personal belief. I
people
believe
that know me, I'm very, very careful. When they say what would Jesus do, the only way I can assess what Jesus would do is scripture. Because at the end of the day, I won't dare. I only have to read his teachings. If his teachings does not line up with what I think he would do, then what I think he would do is false. Like when people say that God is disappointed, you can't tell me nowhere in scripture that God is disappointed. So that's something that you did made up. When you say I think Jesus would do that, you have to follow that up with scripture with me to get me on your side. Because at the end of the day, you just telling me what you would do. You just telling me what you would do and just saying Jesus would do the same thing you would do.
I feel like in my opinion is innately, if you love the people enough to die for them, then you would love them enough to know that this person should not be suffering the way they're suffering when there's this much resources that could be allocated. These are two things that I put inside. I put hand to hand. The same way I love my children enough to die for them. If my daughter was hoarding all the food in the house and making my son starve to death, I probably would flip a table. I would be upset because I love my children that much. Now, so again, I do believe, it's just my opinion, this is something that will not be fixed unless government intervention. That's my opinion.
I think, the government can intervene. To a certain extent, what's the extent the government intervene? How much do you tax? How much money do you take from? Let's say he has $70 billion. How much of that $70 billion do you take?
Okay. How much do you pay in taxes? I think I would have to ask Tiffany what the tax code is. Whatever it is that I have to pay in taxes.
Federal taxes is 22%. I know that. If you want to know what it is, it's 22%.
Okay.
I'm 22%. Absolutely. I mean, it's tax brackets for everybody, but average American pay 22. And when you file your taxes, they either realize what tax bracket you were supposed to be in, and that's the reason why you pay more. And if you're in a lesser tax bracket, they give you back. That's the reason why. But average people, government federal check is 22%, and I think it's 7% in Virginia, like 6 point something. Virginia is 6 point something. If I'm not mistaken, I might be. Y'all look up the what's the name, but I'm guaranteed that it's 22% that we live by. And right now, 22% of federal taxes is taken out of my check. At the end of the year, if I fall below that bracket, then they'll give me money back. If I'm above, then they take money.
Okay. I ain't got a calculator in front of me right now, but let's start there. Let's start there.
22%?
How much
do you think? That's what I'm saying, man. How much do you think the top 1% pay in taxes?
I bet it ain't 22%.
It's 50%.
Ain't no way. Get out of here. Stop it.
Hey,
stop it.
Can y'all give me a time to share my screen? The tax. I'm telling you right now. It used to be 70. It used to be 70. It used to be 70%.
They pay
way back in the 60s.
They pay 70% of their income in taxes. 70%. They pay 70% of their income in taxes.
Yes.
Ain't no.
I'm not telling you no lie. Everybody know. I thought what they talking about tax is raising it at 90%. That's what they talking about, raising to 90%.
How can you pay 90% of your? You can't pay 90% of your rep. That's not it. That I know that's not true. Ain't no way they pay 90. How, Corey?
I'm saying
ain't no way.
What the government calls for the top 1%
ain't no way.
to pay.
If listen, man. That's why you go to jail tomorrow. Listen, Corey. I'm gonna tell you like this. If he made it to 70 billion, that means that he made $140 billion. That's crazy. Ain't no way. I don't believe it. I ain't even finna do that one there, Corey. To be continued on this.
Average tax rate for the wealthiest Americans. I'm gonna pull it up. We're to be continued. We'll pull that up on the next episode because we got to close out. We're at 54. I tell you what, we'll come back and broach that, but I'm pretty sure it's like around 50%. It used to be 70% back in the day, like the 60s.
It ain't open that. I need to see an accountant. Because if that's the case, there's some money laundering going on.
Yeah, they might be getting around and not paying taxes. Because you got certain tax breaks. They might get around it. But I'm saying what the taxes is set at. I'm not saying whether they pay it or not. I'm saying what they supposed to pay. Now, if they get around it, yeah.
Mm-mm.
But we'll get into it. You want to close it?
Always you first, man.
All right, me first. Again, man, like I say from the start, man, at the end of the day, I do agree that these things are problems. These are big problems that we have to deal with. My thing is that it's not as easy to solve as people think it is. I think we need to get into the nitty-gritty of the problem and try to find valid solutions. You know what I'm saying? I'm of the belief money just don't grow on trees. Let's find out where the money is and what we can do to fix the problem. And I agree to the problem. I just don't agree with your way to fix it.
Oh, absolutely, man. And listen, man. I know it seems like we argue on all types of things, but our intentions are pure, man. Because we really care about you. We care about our people. We care about all that. I think that I'm gonna piggyback off of what George said. I do believe that we, the middle class, are the problem because the lower class don't have a voice to defend themselves. We're the largest class. We're the people in the middle, and as long as we're okay with certain things, those things will be okay. And like I say all the time, silence is compliance. A lot of times, but don't take our opinions. Go look them up for yourself. With that being said, if you really rock with this episode, please hit the thumbs up. And if you do hit the thumbs up, go ahead and share with one of your friends. Give them an opportunity to listen to it. If they like it, they like it. I think they will like it. Yeah, we're trying to get this thing going. Um, I love you guys, but more important than me loving you guys, be sure that you love yours. We out.
Peace.
Peace.